Hi, everyone, and welcome back to Perception Paradox. My name is Jivila, and I'm your host. And today we are going to talk about the founder journey. And when it comes to building a company, there is never a perfect time to build one, as well as there is never a perfect time to start something new, like starting a family, making a move, or some kind of bigger change. So, in this episode, we question what happens when you do both at once. Today, I'm joined by Naomie, co founder and CEO of Cleo Labs, who raised funding while pregnant and is now building an AI company while raising her 1-year-old child. We talk about why investors backed the founding team before the final idea, why she pivoted from AI education to product compliance, and why human expertise, not technology, is becoming the real competitive advantage in the age of AI. We also explore the rise of generalists, the danger of trusting AI without thinking, which we also covered in previous episodes, and my guest defined it as cognitive offloading, and also what it means to build a company as a mission and as a role model for your children. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's dive in. Real people, real stories, and real challenges that break the status quo. I'm your host, Jivila, and welcome to Perception Paradox. Welcome to Perception Paradox.
Thank you. Thank you for having me today.
You've just shared with me this mind-blowing story, which we don't hear a lot around, that you were raising a fund for your current startup, and at the same time, you got pregnant, and then you continued your journey while expecting the baby and also building another baby, the company. So we already touched base a bit around that, and you mentioned that one of the things that helped you to go through or encourage was having a role model, your ex-CEO, who also was raising funds and having kids along the way. So what was your first thought maybe when you were like, oh, we're expecting a baby and I'm building a company and raising funds? Have you thought of like just focusing on the motherhood and quitting the company, or how did you feel?
Yes. So I think it's the most like how to say, like it's the most impactful like thing that happens in my like entrepreneurial journey. So we decided like to raise fund in like September 2025. Sorry, in September 2024 actually, and I got pregnant in October 2024. So it was like of course like willing pregnancy, but I didn't expect like it was like too like so early. So yeah, and for me, so at the time, like of course, like I was a bit scary. But so as I told you just before, I worked like for a year and a half in a crypto market maker startup. It was a Series D startup. They raised like 50 million, something like that. I'm not sure about the numbers. Her name is Kaiko, and the CEO of the company. So she's a woman. She's like a solo founder, and so every year, like she raised fund, and every year she was like pregnant while raising funds. And I saw that like in my eyes of like, I was like a DeFi analyst there. And I always found her like so impressive. And so when I was pregnant and when I was starting my raising fund journey, I just like text her and I was like, okay, so I'm also raising, I'm also pregnant, and I want you like to be part of my journey. Of course, so now she's like one of the business angels of Kaiko. But it's like super important because for me, it was like normal to be like pregnant and raising fund because I really had this role model. But I think she's one of the only women on the planet to like boss. So I really like had the challenge. Yeah, so I start my raising fund journey. At the beginning, to have like a secret being pregnant, and then it was growing more and more. And so it was showing more and more. And it's great because of today. So we are only have like business angels that are truly like trust us in our cap table, and that really like believe in us in even in the no most desperate part, but even in the most in certain parts, I would say of the journey.
Wow, thank you for sharing. I find it very inspiring and knowing that both roles require so much commitment and dedication. And I'm totally with you that we can always combine, and there is no one way of building businesses. So,
Yeah.
talking about the businesses, and you have a very interesting background. You trained as an engineer at the Polytechnic and then started out in Web3, which was like not really in the compliance. So, how did you find yourself in this world?
Yeah, yeah. So I've always been passionate about like technology, and also I've always been passionate about like explaining technology and even like complex technology to others. Yeah, every Sunday I'm just like explaining like Bitcoin and crypto to more like 90 years old grandpa. He's like continuously like trading Bitcoin with my advice. Yeah. Right after my study, so I was working like full time as a crypto engineer, and I found a community that called like Women in Web3. At the beginning, it wasn't the purpose to create a community. I just like post a LinkedIn post like hey, every woman in Web3 like go gather and go like grab a drink together, and it went viral, and we were like 200 at the first meeting. So that's actually like the story of the woman in Web3 community. And I did that because so to learn Web3 I went a lot to community event, and I was most of the time the only woman in the room, and most of the time so people were asking me, okay, who is your boyfriend in this conference, etc. So it was like a little bit awkward. So I found like back in past, like in 2022, Women in Web3 community. We grew the community for 2 years. And basically what we did is like we did like conferences like all over the world. And we spoke into light like women, like founder, women that have like a important like engineering post or like marketing post in like engineering startup, etc. That explain like more about the technology, because Web3 technology is little bit like easy to understand. So we grew the community into Hong Kong. So we are now a second headquarter in Hong Kong that is fully funded by Alibaba, and we're also funded by Google Cloud. And in this journey, in my first entrepreneurial journey, I met my co-founder, which was at that time so Chief Transformation Officer at Avas, like a corporate group. And after 2 years of growing this community together, so we found that we getting along together like so well, and that we have to pass from a non-profit to a for-profit business together. From Web3, we went to, and the first business model of Cleo was AI education. To explain AI, it was like early 2024, so to explain AI to the world actually, and to corporate. And from that, we went to a more narrow use case, which is AI for product compliance. So what we are doing right now is we are dealing with enterprise, like as a Decathlon, for example, and we are doing for them the compliance of their product. For example, if Decathlon have a bike helmet, they have to be comply with numerous of regulation all around the world. Everything, the regulation are open source on the internet. We are scraping everything, and we can tell them, okay, you are compliant in Brazil, compliance in Japan. Be aware, like in Texas, you will have a plastic regulation that will arrive in early 2027, and you have to change this component of your bike helmet. So yeah, basically that's what we are doing.
Okay, that's pretty cool. And that's great how you found your co founder and how one thing led to another, actually, from an actual
Yeah.
problem you wanted to solve while being the only woman in the room. That's massive, I would say, achievement and milestone. So, congratulations. And how did you manage to convince your angels that your idea was fundable? Because we are very often we get great ideas or very small problems. And right now, especially in the last few years, the noise becoming so loud with all the technology that
Yeah.
it's hard sometimes even to differentiate what's is right and what's gonna grow.
Yeah. I think like for us, it was basically the opposite. So when we raised fund, we didn't raise on an idea, we raised on a team. So we really raised by saying, so we are like two, so with Anel, with my co-founder, we are like two completely like different profiles. So I'm an engineer, like 10 years apart. She's like she has a legal background. We have like two different mindsets, but together we found like the biggest woman in Web3 community in the world. And now we want to fund the business together. At that time when we raised, we don't really have an idea. We knew that we wanted to build in the education space and also like this theory flow away because right now we are on the legal space. But anyway, so we told them like, okay, so we are the great team. We want to revolution to disrupt the education space and you have to trust us. Yeah, so basically we didn't raise on an idea, but we raised on a team. But I don't think that is possible like right now. It was possible like in 2024, but now with the rise of AI, so you should like prove something, like prove yourself and not just prove that you have a great profile.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's so true. And what made you pivot from the AI in education to actually what you're building right now?
Yeah, so we start by having like an AI education platform that we're selling to big companies. By the end, so we did that for a year and a half, and now we're doing like the actual like compliance platform for a year. We did for a year and a half. It was like a great business in terms of like a business way. In terms of I don't know, like I don't know how to say that. So we were selling to HR people, and at the end, so the end user was like every people in the company. So the HR are willing to were willing to buy us, and they were like pretty comfortable with this book. But no one was using the platform. So, you know, when you are a founder and you drop like all your life to build a company and you have like just nothing using the tool, no one using the tool, it's a little bit like disappoint. And when we ask to the actual like buyer, like, okay, how can we do for people to use the tool more, etc., they were like, okay, but we don't need people to use the tool. So we bought you. We have to say a budget like for your tools, and if anyone is using that, it's not really my problem. So we were, so by the end of the day, we were really like waking up like every morning. We weren't really proud of what we are doing. We have like a platform of no one was using. And the only good part is like we were doing like good business in terms of profit. But when you drop off everything for building your own company, you want to be proud of what you were doing and you want really to be like useful for people and to change like people's life. We basically like talked about like doing like a pivot from something that really like exciting us and something that's really like useful for people. And we found like this use case of, so we start from legal monitoring, so to monitor like everything for legal people, and then we narrow for product compliance. And now we are like proud to say that we are delivering like 100 of customer, and we're really helping people to better understand, to better monitor their product compliance all around the world.
Mm-hmm. Wow. So can you walk me through the process? How do you onboard the client, or when the client wants to launch, let's say, a product in a new country? What's the process? And do you keep also the human in the loop still? Or if yes, why? If not, why?
Yeah, of course. So we're doing like several use cases. For example, one use case is easy to understand, is like labeling, you know. So I have this T-shirt, and the label is not the same if I want to sell it in India, or if I want to sell it in China, if I want to sell it in the European Union. In European Union, you have to put like some pictograms that is not the same in US, it's not the same like all over the world. So to really understand, so we have this use case on textile for several brands. So what we're doing is like we automate the process. So everything is open source. So when you put the composition of your T-shirt, so if your T-shirt has a zip, if your T-shirt have how to
Hoodie.
say, sorry, a hoodie,
Hoodie.
yeah,
Yeah.
hoodie, or if your T-shirt have button, so it's like different compliance. We also take an input as a substance. So if it's in cotton, if it's in polyester, so you have also different compliance. And we are joining all this different input data type of textile, and like typology plus substance, and at the end we plug to every database, and we can tell you so which test do you have to do, and also which pictogram do you have to put in your labeling. But it's impossible to do this work alone, and to do this work only with AI. You have to have like human in the loop to be better accurate. So only with AI, you can be accurate around like 70-75%. And if you want to reach like 95%, you have to put human in the loop. So we are working with a bunch of experts, regulatory experts. Everyone is like expert in his field, and everyone is expert in his own localization. And we are double checking every false positive and every false negative of the algorithm by real humans. Thanks to that, we can improve the algorithm and have a better accuracy.
Would you consider that being your competitive advantage as well?
Yeah, having human, yeah. At the age of AI, you don't have like technological advantage anymore. So I am an AI engineer. I studied like AI for years. And I can say now that everything I study is useless right now. And yeah, so you don't really have technology advantage. I think the tech advantage is like having engineers, a team that really understands the limit of the algorithm. But yeah, the real advantage is to have like human experts that know the subject and that can improve the AI accuracy. Because anyone can do AI. What is really difficult is to get like a 100% accuracy. Like even Anthropic doesn't have like 100% accuracy and still hallucinate. And because we are working with like a legal team, quality team, like we cannot hallucinate and we cannot tell them like their test is not correct and the test is correct. So it's a big error. So yeah, our competitive advantage is to have a really great accuracy, but it's not thanks to AI, it's thanks to woman in the loop plus AI.
Mm-hmm. And what are the risks are you seeing right now? How we as humanity using AI tools, and what kind of perception we kind of formed?
Wow. So the main reason is like not, and why so that more and more evidence is really why it's complicated for us to are right now, because the main reason is like not to think anymore. So let me explain. You really have the difference between people that are using AI and brainstorm with AI, challenging AI, like rereading what the AI say, and people that just trust AI and doesn't even read what the AI is doing. And yeah, and I think it's the biggest risk right now. So when I hire people, I like every time I do like use case, like technical use case, I think like everyone that want to join the company. And so the most important for me is not the result of the use case. Like basically your algorithm is working, not working, like it's not really like what matter. What matters is like the process. So did you think about like getting the answer? And also I like when I challenge them, because it's like really when I know if they understand what the AI did or not. And most of the time people tell me like, I don't know, I just like copy what the AI did, what the AI said to me, but I don't know what I am doing. And this is happening a lot of time. So yeah, I think it's like a biggest risk with AI.
Do you think it's because we're becoming a lazy population and we're trying to just offload all the hard work, or it just lack of understanding and lack of knowledge, perhaps?
I think it's lazy. Yeah, even it's like people, like no, really, even like people that were like meticulous and yeah, that were like really like on the details. So right now, like when they're working with AI, and yeah, like we feel that they doesn't get anything on what they're working on, and they're just like trusting AI. So yeah, I think the main risk is like trusting AI, and it's not depending on the age. It's not depending of I don't know, like the culture. Is not depending of your background. It's really depending of the mentality. And yeah, if you have like a curious mentality, if you have like a mentality of challenging like every time, so you won't fall it into that. But, if you are if you have a mentality more like lazy, so you will fall into that, and then yeah, like just trusting AI and not challenging, it's a huge risk.
Mm-hmm. And talking about the challenging AI and, well, going back again to the business you're building, the way we build, the way we create has changed. And we can see that it also gives us a bit more speed. It gives a bit of more like opportunities to elevate businesses
Mm-hmm.
faster sometimes. How do you see in the last few years your workflows and approach towards company building has evolved?
Right. So what I see, so for a startup like us, what I see is like we need like less more people, like really to do the job. And I know it's a little bit controversial, but we need like more generalist people. So back in the time, so we were needed like a front end, a back end, a cloud developer, a product owner, like etc. Like we were having a time of a team, sorry, of really specialized people. And for now, what I think is like really we need like more generalist people that know how to adapt, and people that are not like fear about to ramp up in a specific subject. So that's also linked to the difficulty to hire, because we are trained like in France, and I think it's the same thing like in Europe. It's like we are trained in really specialized fields. So you're an AI engineer. So when I back in my study, so I studied like computer vision. I did a master in computer vision, and I only knew how to do computer vision. So I didn't know how to do web scraping. I didn't know how to do front end. I didn't know how to do even like NLP. So I only knew how to do computer vision, and that kind of speciality and that kind of like education is not accurate right now in the age of AI, where we need like generalist people that are willing to ramp up in specialized subjects.
Interesting. And how do you hire right now? What kind of skill set and background are you looking for?
Yeah, so for now we have two job opening. There are one job opening that's called like legal engineer. So legal engineer is like basically what I told you about like human in the loop, like specialized people that understand like compliance, that understand like product compliance, and that knows the technology, so they can like flag like false positive and false negative in an algorithm, and that can improve the algorithm. So this is like a really like special job and a really like a trendy job, but it's really difficult to find like someone that is both like that have both like a legal background and also a willingness to understand like tech. And we also have another job open that is like forward deployed engineer, and it's also like a marketing term to say like really technical product manager. So we the first job post was technical product manager, but people were not technical at all. People did not know how to code. And even with AI now, it's like more easy to code. So we put the job post with a more marketing term that is called like forward deployed engineer. And is, yeah, it was that, as I say to you, like general engineer that basically can do anything from front end to back end to AI, and that are not afraid of something in tech. So it's not like a general
Mm.
engineer.
How much do you expect from your employees and environments to master the AI tools, or and how much we can still learn and be up to speed in the matter of strategic course?
I think like everyone can speed up, everyone can learn. So yeah, I have an example of so we have an intern. She's doing like marketing. She's in a marketing school, and she was the intern for marketing. And today, really like this morning, I gave her permission to change something in the code of the website. So she is now like struggling with GitHub and with changing the hero for a landing page is the website. So yeah, even if she is like a marketing, so you can't now do like what I think is like you can't do a marketing job without getting like your hand like dirty in the code. So yeah, for me, like everyone in the team, even if they are not fluent with AI when they enter into the company, have to do fluent with AI. They have to build their own agent. So everyone in the company is building their own agent, even if they are not technical. Everyone is touching the code base, even they are not technical. So it's so easy right now. So you just have like to ask Claude, you just have like to brainstorm, you just have to have like this mentality of like challenging, like understanding and this curiosity, and you really can do everything. So there is no excuse that I can't do like agent because I'm not technical. So everybody can do everything right now.
Amen. But for example, so sometimes I feel like since we work in the technology field, we are a bit in a bubble that we assume that everyone knows the tools, everyone kind of went beyond the general prompt and copy paste stage that we were a few years ago, let's say. But when you go outside your circles, it's not necessarily the case. We still have a very big educational gap when it comes to the skill set. What would you say is the best approach to shift the mentality from oh, I'm too late, I'm scared, to actually some kind of coherent onboarding to those tools? How would you approach someone who has never used any tools?
Yeah, so maybe for someone that never used a tool, like it's just like giving them the opportunity to do something, like not giving them bonds. So yeah, it's really this example of my intern like this morning. So we had to change something in the website. So I just like give her like the code base of the website and say, okay, do what you want. So I saw that she was scared, but I didn't like give her like bond that okay, she can't because she's not technical. She can't because she never do that. I'm just like, okay, so I trust you. If you have questions, yeah, of course you can ask me, but as Claude, he is like way better than me and he's way better than me. And there is no bond. Like, of course you can like change yourself like the on code base. So by giving people like a dependency and like really trust also, you like it's easy to follow every bond we set to ourselves before.
Independence, trust, and just simply start using, basically. All right, we're getting closer to the end, but I still would like to ask you and to few points of view from you. One of them is the community. So you mentioned that you found at some point in your life that, oh my God, I'm the only woman in the room in this whole Web3 community, very masculine. And people observe that you might be with some boyfriend here just to observe the event, which was not the case. Community, what are the key factors have you noticed that makes the community stick and thrive?
Yeah, I love community because um, so I've only worked like in tech, and I've been like really interested in every like emerging tech. It was like big data back in time, and then like Web3, and now like AI. And I think like the best way to learn is also like to be with others, to speak with others. Yeah, the time I learned the most is really like the time when I speak with people. So I was really like proud of me. Yeah, like when we launched like Women in Web3, because it really like help women getting confidence in their self. And as I told you, so I think like the best way for people to learn is just like to trust them, to give them like confidence and to give them like independence, and also like to give them like role model. Like it's really, really important. It's why I love like to hear like podcast as yours, to really like learn from people. I love like to learn like technical thing from people, because like, everyone really has his own strength and his own way to do. And I love also like hearing like soft skills from people, because you have like the hard skills that is really important in a technical field, but also like the soft skills that is changing everything. So now we won't have like like the women in Web3 community anymore. I didn't find the same thing as like women in the AI community. I didn't find one. Few time I went in a woman event, I didn't find I don't know, like same feeling as we have in women in Web3. I mostly find like women that complain about like being woman in society, and I
Mm.
don't. It's really not what I'm looking for in a community. I'm really looking for trust, looking for confidence, looking for inspiring people. And just like complaining about at what time you have to take your child from school is not inspiring at all. Like like not inspiring at all, but yeah, it's not inspiring. So yes, I really believe in the power of community, but in power of community to elevate and not just to complain about being a woman or being like something else.
Mm. And since you started your motherhood journey along the way with your new company journey, have you found more women who've been going through the same journey? And how did you manage to combine and create this fulfilling agenda of your life in a way, rather than what you were just saying, complaining that, oh, I have to pick up my kid from the daycare, you know?
Yeah. So I know I didn't find one community that really inspired me, but I find like friends, yeah, women friends like of my age. So I'm almost like 30. So yeah, so women from my age that got married. It depends. I have like few friends that got married, that also have children, and that are also like building a company. So yeah, I think that I'm more like inspired by friend I find in this entrepreneurial journey. And yeah, it's pity that we don't have like a community that really like see yourself like growing. But I found that into like friend in the past.
But that seems like you have your great friends group who are sharing similar virtues, values, approaches, entrepreneurial mindset that keeps you going. So, what makes you kick off the day with a big smile as you join the call and this positive mind?
Yeah, so I kick off my day at 2 a.m. because my baby is yeah, he's waking up like every night. He's 1 year old, so I know that at that age, so some baby are sleeping and mine is not. So at 2 a.m. I have my first wake up of the morning, and then 7 a.m. It's yeah, what's really like give me like smile in the journey is like really to see like my baby, put him like in the daycare, and then like to go like to the office, knowing that I do everything for a purpose. So building a family, your whole way of seeing like business is changing, because you are not doing business because you are selfish and just for yourself and just because of your ego, but you're also like doing business to be like yourself, like a role model for your children. It's the whole perspective has changed, and now I'm like, what can I do for my children to be proud of me like in 10 years, 15 years, because like right now he's 1 year old. I think he's just proud of me when I do him like puree. So it's a different perspective. But yeah, I really saw my entrepreneurial journey as not as a selfish journey anymore, but as a mission journey to be a role model for my children.
And it means like that mission stays with the strength rather than fears, and that you just embrace and design the life you want. That's it, with a big
Yeah,
mission. That's really great. To
thank
everyone who
you.
is listening, thank you for sharing. To everyone who is listening for us today, I have a tradition in the podcast to leave the listeners with a thought to ponder through a day. What would be your thought? What would you like us to leave the conversation and think about more in depth?
Okay, so can you repeat the question?
What would be one thought to ponder for our listeners you would like them to after this
Wow.
episode?
Yeah, so one thing is like I got the question like a lot from like women entrepreneurs that when it's a good time to have a baby, etc. It's not like too hard. And so for me, like the main thing I want like you to remember is like there is no like good time to have a baby. There is no like good time to start a family. It's always like the wrongest time ever, because you are always like too busy. You always have something to do. You always want like either to change job, to raise funds, to do something. So it's never the good time. So yeah, so I really like the main thing I want to say is like it's never the good time to have your first baby, your second baby, to get married. And people will always like complain about you being selfish by building your own like personal journey, but don't have like this mentality and do like whatever you want, because people will always tell you like you are not capable, it's too difficult, like you can't do that, and you are the only one who know that if you can do that or not. So yeah, that's the end.
Beautiful. The best time is now. That's it.
Yeah, exactly.
Thank you. Thank you, Naomi, for joining, for finding your way to perception paradox and sharing your inspiring journey, your approach, mindset. I'm leaving this conversation there inspired, and I do believe that the audience as well. And good luck with your further growth, both of the child
Thank
and the
you.
business and your dream life. And thank you everyone who joined us today, and see you next week.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Then
Bye.
I'm just
Thank you.
stopping the record.